From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, April the 26th, 2021. Israel came under a barrage of rockets from Gaza this weekend and into this morning, with some 40 rockets fired at southern Israel since Friday night, forcing some residents in the area to sleep in bomb shelters. Several of the rockets were intercepted by the Iron Dome missile defense battery. Others landed in open areas, and there were no reported injuries, although there were some 4 people lightly hurt running to bomb shelters as sirens sounded throughout the weekend. 2 Palestinian terror groups in Gaza took responsibility for the slew of rockets, saying they were in response to violent clashes in Jerusalem over the last few days and warned of more to come. In response to the Gaza rockets, the IDF struck terror targets in Gaza, vowing to continue to protect Israeli civilians. And today, Israel closed the Gaza fishing zone and warned Hamas, the terror group that controls the Gaza Strip, of an even stronger response if the rockets continue. 4 synagogues in the New York City area were vandalized over the weekend. The incidents took place in the Bronx neighborhood of Riverdale, which has a large Jewish population, on Saturday night, with rocks thrown through glass windows and doors at the Riverdale Jewish Center, Adath Israel of Riverdale, Young Israel of Riverdale, and Chabad of Riverdale. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said he was appalled by the incidents and instructed the New York State Police Hate Crimes Task Force to help in the investigation. The suspect is still at large. Cuomo said, "We stand with Jewish New Yorkers, an essential part of the fabric of our state, as we do with all victims of bigotry." Jewish organizations shared their outrage at the vandalism, including the American Jewish Committee, who stressed we cannot allow anti-Semitism to become the new normal. In France yesterday, over 25,000 people, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, gathered in Paris to protest the recent French High Court decision not to try the Muslim man who killed his Jewish neighbor, Sarah Halimi, believed to have been targeted because she was Jewish. As we reported to you, the court said that the man was in a state of acute mental delirium brought on by smoking marijuana when he committed the 2017 murder, and therefore was not criminally responsible for his actions. Well, that decision has outraged many across the Jewish world and beyond. And yesterday, the protesters included Jewish, Muslim, and Christian leaders showing their support, marching under the banner "Justice for Sarah Halimi" at Trocadero Square in Paris, with protests also taking place in Tel Aviv, London, Rome, New York, Miami, Los Angeles, and other cities in France. Turning now to the political situation in Israel, with just 8 days left for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to try and form a government, talks continue among other party leaders to see if they might be able to form a unity government without Netanyahu. The Times of Israel reports that Naftali Bennett, who leads Yamina, and Gideon Sa'ar, who leads the New Hope Party, said there were still significant gaps between them and the more centrist Yair Lapid's Yesh Atid party, both saying they prefer a right-wing government to be formed. Bennett said there are difficulties in forming a unity government. "I can't say if a government like this will be formed, but it is important to pursue this effort until the end. We have an obligation to do everything," he said, "to prevent fifth elections." And we will have more on the political impasse in Israel on tonight's In the News. Well, the Oscars were held last night in Los Angeles. Jewish winners included one of the producers of the winning Best Picture, Nomadland, Peter Spears, And Anne Roth won for Best Costume Design for the film Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Roth is a veteran in her field, her work seen in such classic films as Midnight Cowboy, The English Patient, and on Broadway in the recent version of To Kill a Mockingbird. At 89 years old, Roth also tied the record for oldest Oscar recipient in history. Producer James Ivory won an Oscar in 2018, also at 89. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, April the 26th. At 7 o'clock, it's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth. At 7:30, Eric Goldman is joined by actress Lainey Kazan, as well as her co-stars and the director of Tango Shalom, the heartfelt family comedy dance movie that explores family, religious beliefs, and the concept of the other. At 8 o'clock, Soviet refusenik Natan Sharansky recounts his journey and discusses his relationship with Menachem Begin and offers life lessons from his time in prison. That's from the Hidden Light Institute and the Menachem Begin Heritage Center. At 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down for part 1 of an interview with the former national director of the ADL, Abe Foxman, who talks about his story of survival during the Holocaust. At 10, Rabbi Harold Kushner speaks with the late Rabbi Rachel Cowan on what it means to live a good life. And coming up next, Shachar Azani speaks with Israeli political analyst Kobi Cohen about Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's attempts to form a government, his calls for direct elections, and analysis of the current political situation in Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, April the 26th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy. Stay well.